Namaste, welcome. I want to talk a little bit about the difference on pranayama and what we're doing in, breath coach, and the difference versus some of the modern trending breath practices. First of all, pranayama is part of a complete system, 8 steps for spiritual evolution. It's about how we can scientifically, step by step, become better versions of ourselves, to be able to tap into a higher potential and higher possibility. The modern breathing practices like holographic breathing and rebirthing, they're focused on emotional release. Yes. And the difference is these practices are often done in isolation. Like, people will go for a weekend workshop and do holographic breathing. I've done this. I did a lot of rebirthing in the 80s. And in some ways, it's shiny object syndrome, because what happens in these, you're forcing the breath, you're forceful inhales, exhales, you're hyperventilating, flooding the system with oxygen, and this principle of when you bring all that in and you try to pump it up and raise the vibration, that anything at a lower vibration is going to bring up to the surface. And that's all well and good. It's cool. And you get all this catharsis and screaming and writhing around, and it looks like something's happening. And something is happening. People are having emotional releases. But the question from a yoga perspective is that grounded? Is it stable? And my answer is often it's not. And this is from direct experience and speaking to many people who have these, who often say at the end, "How are you going?" And they'll say, "I'm feeling a little bit ungrounded. I'm a little bit wobbly." Well, that was full on. I'm not quite sure what to do with that. Again, it's often in isolation, and then people just go home. There's no follow-up to that process. Whereas yoga is a discipline. It's a daily practice to evolve. And of course, you'll get emotional releases along the way. You always have to have the mind stable in that process, because then with the witness consciousness there, we're grounding and we're stabilizing that and holding that as we build prana, as we become bigger. Yoga is nothing to do with force. Force doesn't work. A lot of those practices are forceful. People are getting emotional releases. Is it useful for some people some of the time? Yes. But that's not what we're about. Just to know the difference. If you want to progressively, systematically, for yourself and for your students, evolve as a human being, spiritually evolve, live higher potential and possibility, there is this science, there is this system, there is this step-by-step process that has markers in place to make sure that you are stabilizing and grounding this process of evolution all the way along. Okay? It's just something that I wanted to share with you, so you have it in mind if you're going and experimenting with some of those other trending practices. And they are trending because they come up, like rebirthing in the 80s, they fall away, they get reinvented with a new name, they come up, everyone's excited about it, they fall away. There's no consistency in it. Unlike yoga, which has been growing and growing and growing and growing, because it transforms humans into being the best versions of themselves in a safe, effective way. Namaste.